Welcome to the Test Management Mindset, insights into the world of software testing. The best content by Practitest in audio form, designed to keep you inspired wherever you are. In today's episode, we're diving into the 90-day journey of a QA manager to impact. How to make the transition from being a QA tester to QA manager. Let's get started.
All right. Big congrats on that promotion. Ready to crush those first 90 days as QA manager.
Absolutely.
We're diving into that today using the 90-day journey of a QA manager to impact as our guide.
Sounds good.
You know, it's funny. This guide really emphasizes pre-game research.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Understanding the company you work for is a given.
Yeah.
But this guide really takes it a step further.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just knowing the company. It's knowing, like, their whole world.
It's about hitting the ground running strategically before your first day even. You've got to understand their market position, who they're up against, the competition, and, all the big industry trends that are going to be shaping their future.
Okay, so it's like you're not just showing up, you're showing up prepared.
Yeah.
What's the advantage of going that deep before day one?
Imagine this. You walk into your first meeting, and you're not just, aware of the company's goals, but you've got insights from industry reports. Maybe you've even spotted potential challenges they haven't addressed yet. You're not just a manager, you're a strategic thinker.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
That's a good look. I can see how that would make a huge first impression.
Huge.
Yeah. So we've got our finger on the pulse of the industry, the company's place in it.
Mm-hmm.
What else is crucial in those first 30 days?
It's all about understanding the internal landscape.
Yeah.
What's the company culture like? What software development methodology are they using? Are they all about agile, steady with DevOps, or is it something totally unique? And of course, getting a handle on the tools they rely on, that's key.
Makes sense. It's like learning the language everyone speaks before you even join the conversation. You mentioned Agile and DevOps, and I know the guide mentions that those are super common now.
Absolutely. 86% of companies are on that train.
Hmm.
These methodologies are all about speed and flexibility, so understanding them is vital for a QA manager.
Yeah, I bet. So much of QA is about keeping up with those rapid development cycles. Speaking of which, how important is the team aspect in all of this?
It's not just about the tech, right? Building relationships, especially in those early days, is crucial. Understanding your team's strengths, their areas for growth, and fostering open communication. That's how you build trust, and ultimately, that's how you get things done.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, so month one was all about intel gathering, playing detective, really understanding the lay of the land.
Right.
Now month two, this is where things get exciting. It's all about action.
Exactly. You spent the past month learning, absorbing. Now it's time to put all that valuable knowledge into practice. The guide calls this phase implement theory into practice. And it's where you really start to shine as a leader.
Ooh, I love that. From theory to action. I'm ready. Where do we begin?
With a plan, of course. The guide is a huge advocate for creating what's called a SMART action plan.
Okay.
And no, we're not talking about robots taking over the QA department, although that would make for an interesting episode.
Hold on. Robots doing QA. Now, that's a deep dive for another day. But back to this SMART plan. What does that even stand for?
SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. It's about transforming those big, ambitious goals you have for your team into smaller, more manageable action steps.
Okay, I'm getting it. So instead of saying we need to improve software quality, you break it down. Like, what's one specific thing we can tackle this month to make a measurable impact?
Precisely. And the beauty of the SMART method is that it forces you to think about resources, timelines, and who's responsible for what. It's about clarity and accountability.
It sounds almost like project management, but for the entire QA process.
It's very similar. And speaking of resources, this is also a good time to assess your team. Do you have the right people with the right skills to execute your action plan?
You're talking about hiring. That can be a whole beast in itself.
It can be, but the guide does a great job of breaking it down. And one thing I found particularly interesting is the emphasis on soft skills.
Soft skills. You mean like being a good communicator, a team player, that kind of thing?
Exactly. Technical skills are a given, of course, but those soft skills are what truly set a candidate apart. Can they clearly articulate complex technical issues? Can they collaborate effectively with developers and other stakeholders? Those are the qualities that make for a truly valuable QA professional.
That makes so much sense. You could have the best automation framework in the world, but if your team can't communicate effectively, things will inevitably fall apart. It's all about working together.
Exactly. And that's where your leadership comes in. You've built your A team, you've got your action plan. Now you need to keep the momentum going.
So what's the secret sauce? How do we keep everyone motivated and moving in the right direction?
Delegation and open communication are key. You can't do everything yourself, and you shouldn't try to. Trust your team, empower them to take ownership, but always be there to provide guidance and support.
Right. It's that balance between giving people autonomy and making sure they have what they need to succeed. That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
So we've gathered our intel, created a plan, built our A team, and we're communicating like champs. What's next in our 90-day journey? All right, listener, we're in the home stretch. Month 3, this is where we take a step back, look at what we've accomplished, and set ourselves up for, long-term success. Kind of like that end-of-season review your favorite sports team does.
Exactly. The guide calls this crossing the finish line. But as you said, it's not really an ending. It's more about taking stock, celebrating achievements, and identifying areas for, continuous improvement.
I like that, a constant evolution.
Yeah.
So where do we even begin with this whole evaluation process? It's not like we can just hit pause on, the QA process and have everyone reflect.
Yeah. Right. It's about integrating evaluation into your everyday work. Remember those SMART goals we talked about? Month 3 is a great time to revisit those, measure your progress, and see what adjustments need to be made.
So we're looking at those specific, measurable outcomes. Did we hit the mark? Did we fall short? And if so, why?
Exactly. And it's not about pointing fingers if things didn't go exactly according to plan. It's about understanding the why behind the results. Was there a bottleneck in the process? Were there unexpected challenges that popped up?
This is where those open communication channels we talked about become so important, right? Creating a space where everyone feels comfortable sharing their honest feedback.
Absolutely. And it's not just about reflecting on the processes, it's about the tools too. Remember how we talked about evaluating your tech stack early on? This is the perfect time to really put those tools to the test.
You mean like seeing if they're actually delivering on their promises, if they're actually helping us streamline things, improve quality?
Exactly. The guide actually has a really cool 9-step checklist for tool evaluation. It walks you through everything from functionality to ease of use to ROI.
That's super practical. I love that they give you those kinds of actionable takeaways. It's not just theory, it's about giving you the tools to actually implement these ideas.
And that's what makes this whole 90-day plan so effective. It's about equipping you with the knowledge, the strategies, and even those practical checklists to not just survive, but thrive as a new QA manager.
I completely agree. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We talked about everything from pre-game research to building your A team to creating that culture of continuous improvement.
It's been a whirlwind.
It really has. But before we wrap things up, there's one thing that keeps coming back to me, something the guide kind of touches on but doesn't fully explore. It's that human element of leadership.
You mean going beyond the metrics and the processes?
Exactly. How do you inspire your team? How do you create a culture where everyone feels valued, heard, and motivated to do their best work?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's something every leader grapples with.
Yeah, it's bigger than any checklist or framework, that's for sure.
It is. It's about cultivating those authentic connections, recognizing individual contributions, and fostering, a shared sense of purpose.
It's about remembering that at the end of the day, we're all in this together. And that's a powerful thing. Well, listener, we've reached the end of our 90-day deep dive. We hope this episode has given you the insights and the inspiration to step into that new role with confidence. Remember, you've got this.
You absolutely do.
Until next time, happy testing, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.